What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. Today, we're talking about the LCS offseason once again, the latest and greatest news, rumor, speculation, and all of that good stuff going on in the professional League of Legends scene today. More specifically, we're going to be talking about Doublelift, TSM, what's going on there, all the new latest kind of fallout, rumors, controversy, speculation, all that stuff that's been kind of surrounding Doublelift's retirement ever since, really, and even before he officially announced it. Obviously today, the Crackdown talked about the Doublelift situation a little bit. Apple had tweeted this stuff out, that the Crackdown didn't even scratch the surface of the iceberg. Highly certain Thorn will be doing further content surrounding this. This was good enough, though, I suppose. And then here's the big stuff. DL didn't want to retire. Every team denied him, and TSM threw him on the street. TSM denied DL a spot. So that's pretty big stuff. Obviously, some stuff we want to talk about. Some of that's not really too breaking news. Obviously, we talked about before from Doublelift's own stream how he was like, TSM was like, okay, we might not be able to get Sword Art. Will you play with Palette? He said, no, I don't want to play with Palette. I want to play with somebody that speaks English well, that has good communication skills, and I want a world-class support. He started making a lot of demands. I want a world-class support, and they got to be able to speak English. That's obviously narrowing the pool down further and further. And TSM only has so many options. Obviously, Sword Art would have been the best of both worlds for everyone involved, but once Doublelift told TSM he wouldn't play with Palette, and he was kind of like threatening that retirement, trying to like force TSM's hand and stuff, he said that the TSM management didn't take that very well, that they got mad at him, that they were really mad. And then that's kind of, it seems like what started this whole spiraling out of control. So again, saying that Doublelift didn't want to retire, that's not really anything new. But saying that every team denied him, that is pretty crazy. He goes on to add that, a lot of the top teams already have 80 carries, so they didn't really want him. When you start thinking about it, like Team Liquid, they're good. Cloud9, they're good. 100 Thieves, they're good. Evil Geniuses would be a potential landing spot for Doublelift, obviously. But as Applehead says here, it sounds like Evil Geniuses was potentially just tired of dealing with TSM, that they were fine. Obviously not fine with going with Deathly, but they were just sick of waiting on TSM to see what was going to happen. So maybe there's the potential that Evil Geniuses could have gotten Doublelift. Maybe they still could. Who really even knows? But it seems like they are going with Deathly now, which that sucks. That's tough for Evil Genius fans to hear. When you hear you could have had Doublelift and you ended up with Deathly, that sucks. But again, Evil Geniuses was just kind of waiting as they were going back and forth with TSM. TSM kind of verbally agreed to give them Lost, then backed out of it, and then they were making them get held up on the Huni negotiations, which made them have to wait on Impact. Like, they almost really ruined Evil Genius' offseason, so I could see them being a little bit upset with TSM, being a little bit mad. And obviously Doublelift comes with a hefty price tag as well. And then also the other factor being the fact that the bottom tier teams like GGS, Dignitas, Immortals, those teams just either didn't want to pay for Doublelift or couldn't even afford him in their budgets. So TSM did shop around Doublelift a little bit, and it sounded like Doublelift was willing to go to another team if the right opportunity presented himself. And I did see a comment the other day, like a little meme, like Lena saying, "It's not my fault nobody wants Doublelift," like making fun of the Dardoch situation. Like, that would be super hilarious to hear on his stream or something. Obviously, this is kind of another side of the story. On Doublelift's stream, he didn't really make it sound like this is what happened. He just kind of said TSM got mad at him, and that kind of made him realize he needed to retire, or that it was time to retire, or whatever. And I think it's pretty crazy. So then Applehead also points to questions like, how do fans feel if TSM does not succeed? And they found out they could have kept DL on the roster for another year. I mean, that's kind of really hindsight 2020, like saying, oh, if you don't succeed, then are you going to look back? Like, yeah, maybe a little bit. But again, Doublelift isn't a long-term situation. Doublelift is, even if he came back for this year, it sounds like he's contemplating retirement, would only have a year anyway. So even if this year doesn't work out, I don't think you can really look back and be like, oh, we should have gave Doublelift one more year. Because even TSM with Doublelift probably isn't a better team than Cloud9, probably isn't a better team than Team Liquid this year, and they just went 0-6 at Worlds even with Doublelift, so it's not like he's like this savior or something. That doesn't mean maybe he wouldn't be better than Lost for this year, but I do think, if Doublelift is kind of, going back and forth, I don't think it's that bad of an idea to get Lost in there. Because especially if they were just ready to move on. And then, how shocked are Doublelift fans knowing that no one wanted DL? I think that is pretty crazy, and that is crazy to hear, especially with how much success and just pedigree he's had in his career, how big of a brand he is, but also how much he's meant to so many different teams. For a while, it was whatever team Doublelift is on wins LCS, and then obviously we broke that streak in Spring Split, and then in the Summer Split, it kind of looked like, Doublelift could be very replaceable. And that's where you get to the situation where TSM is willing to move on from him with Lost, and obviously they have a lot of confidence in Lost if they're confident enough to be playing hardball with Doublelift, to not, trying to play his games and everything. But it is pretty crazy. Obviously, it gets really interesting when you know that Lena's involved with the TSM management organization and everything as well. That has to make everything really like awkward and crazy over there. But the big story here is that Doublelift didn't necessarily want to retire. He was potentially open to going to another team, but for whatever reason, the other teams couldn't get the deal worked out, didn't have the money, didn't have the need for Doublelift, didn't have the want for Doublelift. And I think that's pretty crazy. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. Is there a team that should have gone after Doublelift? Should TSM keep Doublelift for one more year? Should Evil Geniuses have gone after him a little bit harder? Is there another team you'd like to see Doublelift on? I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's some options out there. There's crazy stuff, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on my latest content. Check me out over at Twitch, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.